A lunar celebration. Author's note. This is just a short little one-shot that I decided to write in the spirit of Christmas. I'm not expecting much from it, as it's the first one-shot or story that I've written that ends happily. It's also for a contest for this group here. Linky, I'm not clicking. But hope you enjoy it, as I may be doing more of this soon. That is all. Gamer Luna. Okay. And now, a lunar celebration.
By Stale Coffee. Christmas time has fallen in Equestria, and while no girl celebrates it in a unique way,
A light snow had fallen, covering the roofs in a magical white glow. Along the streets were homes that were illuminated by a single fire from within. Around the fire sat children, each wrapped in a blanket by the fireplace and holding a cup of hot cocoa in their hands. Their parents sat nearby, awaiting the moment for when their children would tire and go to sleep. It was hearth-warming eve in Equestria. The streets were bare, and everybody that resided in Canterlot was either home or doing last-minute shopping. In the city's palace there sat two children. They were home alone for the night, their parents being away on some important business.
Okay, Luna. You wanted to make cookies, right?
Celestia looked down at her younger sister, who was looking over the counter with eager eyes. Laughing, she said,
I'll take that as a yes. Okay, let's find the ingredients.
The twosome wandered off towards the pantry, Celestia holding a list of ingredients and Luna carrying a basket.
Okay, so the first thing on the list is flour. Do you know where that is?
I think so.
With that, Luna walked through the pantry until she found the flour. She returned with it, awaiting further instructions.
Next we need baking soda.
Luna waddled off, the basket in her arms. She returned with the baking soda and was sent for the rest of the ingredients with Celestia close by. After they had retrieved the necessary materials, they walked back to the kitchen. Luna immediately took up a step stool and stood in front of the counter.
Did you remember to wash your hands?
Oops, almost forgot.
She ran towards the sink and began thoroughly washing her hands. She walked back to the counter and began the cookies with her sister. After they had been placed in the oven, Celestia turned to Luna and asked,
Do you want to go outside and play in the snow now?
Yes, please.
Excited, Luna ran to her bedroom and threw on her warmest clothing. Walking out into the snow, the first thing she did was trip purposely. As her body connected with the snow, she began to wave her arms back and forth, giggling the whole time. Celestia walked out not long after and looked at her, trying to suppress a laugh.
Come on, let's go build a snowman. I know how much you love to do that, right?
Luna stood up and began to walk towards a large pile of snow. There she began to roll the snow into a ball, forming the base of the snowman. She continued this process until the entire snowman was complete. Once done, she threw accessories on her creation and decorated it. After all the extra accessories were thrown on, she turned around. Only to be hit in the face with a snowball.
Haha, I got you, Luna.
The cold ball stung. She didn't like that. In retaliation, she formed her own ball of snow, throwing it in her sister's direction.
This means war,
She cried. She took a cover behind a shrub, hoping Celestia wouldn't find her any time soon. A snowball would fly by every so often, but that didn't worry her. She had been building up her arsenal the whole time that her sister was firing shots. Satisfied with what she had, she stood up, holding the pile in her arms. Grabbing one at a time, she began to throw them one by one at her sister, who was standing in the open. Snowball after snowball connected with her sister's clothing, each impact making Luna feel better on the inside. When she was left unarmed, she called out to Celestia.
Okay, let's call it truce. We can go inside now. It's getting cold.
Of course, Luna. Come on, you must be cold. Let's go and sit by the fire.
The two walked hand in hand back into the palace, each taking a seat by the roaring fire. Celestia got up and went to go make them hot chocolate for both of them to enjoy. Coming back, she found Luna sound asleep on the couch.
It figures that you'd be tired. You had a long day.
She walked towards her sister and gathered her up in her arms, carefully taking her to her room. Once Luna was tucked in, Celestia walked back to the living room and settled down by the fire, a heavy sleep falling upon her. Before her slumber, she turned towards the clock and saw that it read 11:59 p.m. Celestia's snoring could be heard from the living room, indicating to Luna that the coast was clear. Quietly, she arose from her bed and walked towards her closet, throwing on a red suit and a red hat. Once she was in the proper attire, she grabbed a large sack that she had hidden behind her clothing and headed out the door. As quiet as a mouse, she traveled from home to home, putting presents on the front steps of each home. It was tradition to do this, and with nobody to deliver the gifts, she took it upon herself to deliver the toys. There was one particular house that she hesitated to place something. It was housed somebody who would one day become a princess herself, and would save Equestria from destruction along with her friends. She didn't know it yet, but she would. The gift that Luna placed on the front step was a book. Next she went towards a farm. There was a hard-working person inside, one who would never lie to her friends, no matter the circumstances. She left a lasso and a hat on the front step and wandered off to her next location, Cloudsdale. How she got up there was a complete mystery, but the first home she visited was that of a young child who, though very shy, would exceed beyond the other people, making many, many friends along the way. She would learn to love animals and care for them. For her, Luna left a baby rabbit named Angel. The second home she visited in Cloudsdale was that of a small child who, no matter the circumstances, would never abandon their friends. Luna couldn't remember what she had gotten for this child, had to go digging through her sack. Then she found it. It was a pair of goggles, an exact replica of the goggles worn by the Wonderbolts. She placed it upon the front step and headed back to Ponyville for the final stops. After wandering around and placing gifts, she was left with a single home. She pulled out a spool of thread and some fabric, carefully placing it upon the snow.
For one day, you're wont to be a sign of generosity,
she whispered. Checking her list of homes, she had just one last place to visit, a small rock farm that sat in the outer rooms of Ponyville. She got there as quick as she could. The sun was steadily rising over the horizon, and knowing farmers, they'd be up soon. There was but a single gift left in the bag, so she abandoned the bag on the front step and hurried home. What was inside was the finest party cannon in all of Equestria. As she was running home, she thought to herself a simple set of words.
Happy heartwarming to all, and to all a good night.